I hit the lottery for some money, $7,000.
Wow, you remember the numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm waiting.
So I turned around and told her, the relationship is over with. I need you to return my money.
The home that we rented from the Johnsons, it had no floor, no walls, and was full of garbage. My husband was diagnosed in May with kidney cancer, which had metastasized to his lungs. 7 weeks later, he passed away.
Plaintiff Peter Miller was planning a Vegas vacation with his ex, but when he discovered she'd been out with another man, he ended their relationship. He's suing for $1,900. Defendant, Beatrice Amasiani, says her ex gave her that money as a gift, so she owes him nothing. And she's countersuing for $920.19 for expenses related to the lawsuit against her.
I do.
Thank you.
Case number 34 on the docket, Miller versus Amasiani.
Well, thank you, Najee.
You're welcome, Judge.
And you may all be seated. Thank you. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Miller. You are suing the defendant, Ms. Amasiani,
Yes.
in the amount of $1,900 for what you say is money owed, and you are countersuing the plaintiff in the amount of $920.19. Mr. Miller, why don't you start with what your complaint is?
My complaint is Beatrice
Yes.
was supposed to return some money from a trip that I had planned to take her on. The trip was to go to Vegas. I had gave her $2,100.
You mean, you said here $1,900, is that?
We went out one night and I gave her $100 off of it.
Why did you give her $2,000? If you were taking her to Vegas, why wouldn't you have bought the tickets yourself or made the reservations?
Well, actually, it was early that I had got the money.
Yes.
So I gave it to her to hold on to until we made the preparations to go.
Why didn't you hold the money yourself? It's your money.
I'm a spender. I spend money.
Do you not have a credit card? Was that it?
No, I didn't have one at the time.
Okay, there's your answer.
Okay.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
You gave her the money because when you make a reservation, you probably got to give it a credit card, and she had one. So you gave her the money with the full understanding, your full understanding, that
Yeah.
this money was for Vegas. What went wrong from your side of the issue?
I called her one day. I say, well, how you doing? How was your night? Next thing she tells me, oh, I went out with Ken last night.
Oh, well, I went out with this other man.
Yeah.
And
So,
you're probably said, now.
I'm sitting in the car with
Yeah.
a customer, and she tells me she went out with Ken. So I say, okay, I'll talk to you later. I'm with this customer. Went home after the deal was made. I was gonna bring her the money to turn around and put with the other money that I had her to save. Turns
Bring
around,
what other money?
I hit the lottery for some money.
Nice going.
Yeah, 7,000.
Wow, you remember the numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm waiting. No. All right.
So I turned around and told her, the relationship is over with. I need you to return my money because we're not going to Vegas. She asked me why. I told her, I said, you're going out with other men.
Okay, and doesn't that make sense what he just said?
Yes, it does, especially if that's how it had happened.
Oh.
What happened was...
You didn't go out with Ken?
I did go out with Ken, who is a friend of mine, have been a friend of mine for 25 years.
Oh, okay.
He does not want to meet Ken because he has his own insecurities. Nevertheless,
But this
friend is
wasn't a
long
romantic
time.
thing with
It
Ken.
is not romantic, never has been, and never will be.
Oh, okay.
What happened that day, Judge Jerry, is that I do what I'm doing, picking up my daughter, come home, I'm tired, I lie down for a while. That's when Peter calls, and he says, while I was napping, hey, I don't like this situation. No woman is going out with another man that I'm with, so you're gonna give me back my money. And I said, excuse me? And he says, that's right, you're gonna give me back my money, and he hangs up the phone.
Okay, he's decided we're not going to Vegas. So as soon as he makes that decision, we're not going to Vegas, why wouldn't you return the whole money to him since that was the purpose of the money?
Originally, Judge Jerry, please allow me to explain how
Yeah.
the money came about.
Yes.
One day, as he said, he had driven over to my home because I always drive.
Yeah.
He got into my car, reached down, pulled up his pants leg, and said, "Honey, look, I have a surprise for you." And he hands me a large amount of money, $2,000. Yeah, it was in his sock. Not at all like that.
Well, when he said you got a surprise for you, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, that's not the surprise.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says he has a
Surprise,
surprise.
Go ahead.
And he gives me $2,000, and he
Yeah.
says, "That's for you."
Wow.
I said, "Oh my God." He says, "For your birthday," and I'm still smiling. And he says, "For a trip." I says, "Oh, okay." So what we do, we go out to dinner, we enjoy ourselves. 3 days, 2 to 3 weeks later, that's when he calls me and he suspects that I've been cheating on him. And he says, "You need to return my money."
Now, what happened in your pleading? You said something about $600 that you had asked him, can I take $600 of that money
Yes.
to loan to a friend?
Yes, my daughter has a friend that was in school. They started college together, and he needed the money to be paid that Friday, that Wednesday, before he can go into the dorm room.
Okay.
However, his mom didn't get paid until Friday, so he had asked if I could give them the money
Okay,
until
so
Friday.
that was a nice thing. But
Yes.
let's think of it this way. So you called him, and you guys discussed whether it is okay, out of that $2,000 that was given to you to hold, if you took 600 of it to
And
loan
lent
to a
it.
friend.
And let me tell you what he said. He said, "Yes, babe, that's your money. You can do with it what you want, because if you don't have any money left, when it's time to go on a trip, we will not be going."
I never knew what the amount
Okay,
was.
okay.
All she told me is her girlfriend was gonna give her back some money.
Okay.
And I
now
told
here
her.
comes the critical part. At some point, you apparently said to her, that's what she's saying, is if that's how you're going to spend the money, you understand at some point the money's going to be gone and we can't go to Vegas. Am I paraphrasing correctly?
Yeah.
It's clear to me that the intention of the giving of the money was for you guys to go to Vegas. It was initially what you even understood, which is why you asked him, can I take this money,
That is
X amount of
correct.
money, to help a friend, whereby he said yes. Still mentioning that there was the Vegas thing. You sued for $1,900, but I fined for the plaintiff only in the sum of $1,300. I'm deducting $600 that you gave permission for her to help her friend. The defendant, you are countersuing Peter Miller for $925 because you had to take off work. You had to lease a vehicle back and forth to the courthouse. I can't find that he should be punished for paying for you showing up in court. The verdict on the countersuit is dismissed. Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,300.
Thank you, man. She did it without me even knowing it. She just did it. But I'm all right with the judge's verdict.
I wish him well, and
Plaintiff Dawn Johnson thought she was helping a friend when she let her and her husband rent their former home. Instead, her friend left the house a stinking mess. She's suing for $2,120 for repairs. Defendant, Carmel Petersson, claims she was dealing with her husband's sudden death, but still managed to leave the house spotless.
Case 89 on the docket, Johnson versus Peterson.
Okay, let's see what we have here. We have the plaintiff, Ms. Johnson, and you are suing the defendant, Ms. Petersson, for $2,120 in damages to your rental home due to pet hoarding. And the defendant, Ms. Petersson, you are countersuing the plaintiff for $1,788. Okay, let's start with the plaintiff here. And your name, sir?
My name is Armin Johnson.
Oh, you're the...
And the husband?
Yes.
And we're here today to hold Ms. Petersson accountable for the damages that she did to the home that we raised our children in.
And what is the problem?
When she first started, she had signed an agreement to have 2 people and 2 pets, a non-refundable deposit for the pets.
Okay.
And by the time she had left, she had hoarded over 20 animals on the property.
Your Honor,
Oh, 20 animals?
I'm sorry, I object to the term hoarding.
She brought in a lot of, more
Correct.
than
She
two
started
animals.
to have an additional number of dogs and a daughter and another dog, and then rabbits and guinea pigs and hedgehogs, and was selling these animals on the internet, I believe.
You say in your statement here, 4 dogs, 3 guinea pigs, 9 big rabbits, who had 25 rabbit babies, 2 birds, and a family of hedgehogs.
Your Honor,
You're saying the original lease said she could only have 2 dogs. Was the lease altered, or, because obviously you knew these animals were there, what did you do when all the other animals
Correct. We
came?
didn't know the animals were there at first. I mean, they weren't there at first, and as she lived there for a few years.
Oh, okay.
And as time went on, there became more and more animals and more of an issue.
From your point of view, how was this resolved at the time?
At the time, it was understood that she was not going to continue to have the animals, and it was discussed that, you know, when is the daughter going to leave and her dog going to leave? That, well, soon. And the animals, with the urinating and the pooping in the house and whatnot all the
Honor.
time, it became like, well, they must understand that they're going to have to replace all the carpeting and the flooring with this many animals
And you had said
urinating
that
on
to
the
her.
floor. Her and her husband.
he's making so many false statements. Can I please put some context into this?
Give me your point of view.
Okay, what happened in this period of time is in May of this year, my husband and I, and it wasn't just me alone, it was my husband and I, and he was diagnosed in May with kidney cancer, which had metastasized to his lungs. 7 weeks later, on July 19th, he passed away. I was, at the time, working full-time. We were both in school, and I was basically providing hospice care for my husband in the home that we rented from the Johnsons. We lived there for 3 years.
Okay.
Armin made it sound like we moved right from the house where they raised their children. We moved in. There were a string of tenants prior to us. We were not the only tenants, and the previous tenants had 2 large dogs. My husband was a licensed general contractor, and he was a professional and a cabinet maker. May I show you some pictures
Yes.
of what we have here? Okay, so this is my husband and I. We were married 4 years prior, and these are pictures of the shed that my husband converted into a rabbit house. It was a shed that a previous tenant left on their property. It had no floor, no walls, and was full of garbage.
Yes.
My husband cleaned out the shed. He put those cedar walls in, he put the floor in, he insulated it, he put electricity in, and you can see it was pristine. This is not the acts of a hoarder. We had Grand Champion rabbits, we had 9 adults, and we raised those rabbits and provided them to 4-H young people who were showing at shows. Dawn knew this.
Your Honor, I have pictures of that house that they made into a bunny house. Now it is completely trashed. It's like a barn in there.
These pictures, at this point, it's pretty well kept.
And we, during the time, the 3 years that my husband and I lived there, we made many repairs that are documented in our court papers
Any
to the home.
alterations to the property?
Yeah, go ahead, she's
And
talking.
I have pictures of these improvements. We painted all the rooms in the house when we moved in because they were in very bad shape. The carpeting was old, it was dirty. There were light fixtures in the kitchen and the bathrooms that we replaced. Those are pictures of the fixtures. There is one picture of the old fixture, and the reason we replaced it was not just the aesthetics, but it was a fire hazard.
There's no
I
such
said this
thing
to
as a fire hazard.
I have pictures of that wiring, and they appreciate it. I have a text. I said, would you like me to remove these fixtures? I
Okay.
have the old fixtures. I can replace them. She said, no, you guys did a great job. We love the paint and the fixtures. Leave it. So they acknowledged at one point all the repairs we made to the house, and on the other hand, they're turning around and saying we trashed it. They were also guests and in our home at least 2 to 3 times a week. We lived on adjoining properties.
Your Honor, I have pictures of all the damage that was done to the house. Rabbit poop and dog poop in the register, in the living room that was not cleaned until December 31st. We could not even show the house.
I had
Those are
occupancy
pictures.
until December 31st.
The alterations to the
Okay,
house.
okay. You were in that house until December 31st.
Yes, and here are my receipts for the cleaning and the pictures after the
And
cleaning was
here
done.
the,
Pictures don't show the smell, and you can't understand how bad the urine smell in the carpet embedded into the grain of the wood of the floor. So we had to, of course, eliminate the carpet, the pad, get down to the main floor, and then bring in a contractor to put in an odor sealing product over the boards because the boards themselves are so saturated with the urine. After 2 coats of that, it did still seep through, but we were able to put in new pad, new carpeting, and make the house presentable at that point.
So here's what the suit is for, and here's what your countersuit is for, and let's go over some of these things.
May I provide one other thing, Your Honor?
One other
though,
thing, and
that's
then I'm
critical?
going on with
These
this.
are the cleaning bills. I went in and had a professional cleaner clean the house and carpet cleaning done and deodorizing, and here are the actual pictures of what the house looked like, which is very different than the pictures they're presenting. This is on the last day, December 31st.
Again, the odor doesn't show
It
up in a
didn't take
picture.
the odor out.
And that same contractor came in.
Okay,
afterwards.
okay, but in fairness to her, this is a different picture on the day she left than the one you're giving me. I'm not
Right.
saying the odor isn't here,
if
but
I'm
the
just
picture.
proving that we could not even show it with it in that condition.
They're not entitled to
until she
show
was
it
out.
while I'm in occupancy. That's not a
Yes.
requirement.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
How are we
Yeah.
supposed to get it rented if we can't show
After
it?
the tenant moves
Well,
out, then
you're
you get to
respo-
show
oh,
it.
Okay, okay,
You're
okay,
responsible
okay.
for that.
You are suing because of damage, and we'll define damage in this case primarily to things that have to be changed because of the odor of
Correct.
3
It's
years of
all right
animals
here.
there. Okay. And you are countersuing for the return of your deposit and also for the home improvements that you made. Fixed faulty wiring in kitchen chandelier, a new bathroom medicine cabinet,
We put a new
3
chandelier.
bathroom light fixture replaced due to defective wiring. None of these are a lot of money, but and you put how much? A new bathroom bar set, $56. 5 to 6 cans of paint for interior of house, $225. So over the 3 years, the home improvements you're talking about, you say, are $588. Okay, so here's what I see. Your suit is for $2,120 for extensive damages, and because their interest is in being able to re-rent the place. On your side, though, you've got the $1,200 deposit that you had given them and the $500.88 home improvements you made, which I think is reasonable. I mean, if they didn't get
Okay,
approval for
but
you
they
to put in the
never asked for
bathroom.
any money at the time. and
Okay.
It's past, this was 3 years
we
ago.
didn't.
Yeah, I know, but all the damages, the smell, for example, is built up over 3 years. So when I put together your claim, which I see justified, and your claim, which I see justified, I find then combined judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $332.
There's no chance that we would probably
She
get
doesn't think
together
she
with
did
her.
anything
She's
wrong.
not
So-
been held accountable at this
No,
point. I feel like
there's no
she,
accountability.
we were hoping that that would be the case, that she'd understand that she has to be responsible for her own actions, and I don't think that she's learned that here today.
It was definitely been of the worst years of my life, and this really added to that, and I'm just sorry it happened in the first place, and I wish they would have treated me as if I was a friend, and I don't feel that happened, so I'm just glad it's over with, and I just want to be able to move forward, because I'm adjusting to a life without my husband now, and that's a really hard thing, so this just didn't help. I miss him, and I feel like he is kind of with me, but at least it's over with, so I'm grateful for that.
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have 2 options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.